Hey everybody, Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. I wasn't sure if it was going on live. This is like my fourth attempt and it just kept spinning and spinning, and all I kept thinking was one of these ones is going to go live and I'm not going to know it. I'm going to be doing something really weird. So yay, caught me at a good moment. We're going to be jumping on and working on this little buffet. So that's our job for today. This is it primed. So I had posted a picture of it before on the Facebook page. So if you haven't seen it, go back. But it just looks like this, just brown. Just looks brown. Really simple design, right? So flat-faced, top and bottom, which in my mind means we gotta do something. If I just painted it one solid color, yeah, kind of boring. That's not gonna work for me. So either I needed to go pretty colorful, lots of blended colors. I needed to add moldings. I needed to consider stenciling or doing a transfer, doing some gold leaf. I mean, I had to do something. So I'm thinking that I need to do a transfer. I haven't done transfers with you guys. I don't do a lot of them, to tell you the truth, mostly because they're pricey. They're beautiful, they're lovely, but they bump up the finished price of the item substantially. You know, so a lot of the big floral transfers that you see a lot of the furniture artists using, you know, and they'll use one, sometimes two. Well, here in Canada, they start at about, you know, $40. So depending upon what price you paid for your piece, adding another $40, then adding all of your other paint and finishing supplies, and then your time, you might end up pricing yourself out of a potential sale. That's possible. Right now, given the times, I'm pretty much expecting I'm going to be sitting on everything that I refinished for quite a few weeks, possibly months. So my house could become very crowded. You might see me starting to stand on ladders and painting pieces that are sitting on top of pieces. Who knows? The living room, you know, at least we can't have company over, so I don't have to worry about fitting people in. So today what we're going to do is we are going to get the base coat painted, and once I've gotten that painted, I'm going to show you the two options of transfers that I'm thinking of and what I'm looking at and where they would go. And then I need you to weigh in on what your thoughts are. But I want you to see kind of the piece painted, see what it would look like potentially. And then I'll finish painting the piece. I'll do the second coat, and then we'll come back on together probably tomorrow. If I get the two coats on today, I need it to dry fully overnight, 24 hours, for the transfers to be able to stick. If there's a little bit of moisture in it, it's just going to peel off the paint instead of the reverse. So we're going to let the paint sit so it's fully dry, and then I'm just guarding the light stand at this second because my dog is in motion. And she doesn't pick up her feet anymore now that she's old. She's been having trouble breathing, so we just had her out at the vet, and she has congestive heart failure. She's on meds, and it's improved her breathing a lot, but it's not perfect and not likely to be perfect. So the feet drag a lot more, and she tends to just walk right into and over things that in the past she would have picked her feet up over. Just one more step, Harley. There we go, baby. Okay. So things that she would have picked her feet up over before, and that she just doesn't do that anymore. So we're going kind of dark on this piece. The two transfers that I have in mind, one is a little bit funkier, a little bit more colorful. The other one is still in kind of the neutral kind of bluey tones. You'll see what I mean. But I am looking at this being two-toned. So for this, I am using DIY paints because I am looking for a blended technique, and you know, I'm in quarantine, so I'm using what I got. And so we're going to start with black. This isn't my black, this is my Bohemian blue. So we're going to start with black, And here I'm using Little Black Dress. So I'm looking at maybe like the bottom half being in black, and then the top half being in Bohemian Blue, which is a really dark teal. It's not quite a navy, but I love these two things painted together. I actually have a small little cabinet, all right, just one liquor cabinet in my living room that I actually painted in the two-tone gradient of the blue on the top, the black on the bottom, and I did some gold stenciling over it. Maybe someday when my living room is a little bit tidier and you can access my furniture, I'll show you. But that's what we're going to get started on today. And then as we get some color on so you can see what it would look like, I'm not going to worry about the top when I'm on with you, but no, the top is going to be all Bohemian Blue as well. And I'll go back and fix the drawers after. And let me get glasses on so I can see some of the detail work. It's funny, you know, like even if you see the picture of this as it was brown, right? A little bit boring already. Like just, you know, you put the primer on and you're going, oh my gosh, it looks like a different piece already. So it's always incredible how much paint colors can really change a piece up, right? And this would be a good piece just if you were looking at wanting to maybe do a sunset or something. This would be a good piece where you'd be able to carry that whole patterning right across the front of this. I don't know why a sunset or a sunrise occurred to me, but they seem to be pretty popular right now with a lot of people wanting to paint them. I don't know if there's a lot of people wanting to buy them, but there's a lot of people wanting to paint them. I think Dion Woods started the Turquoise Iris. If you don't follow her, she does some lovely pieces. I think she might have started the whole sunrise sunset craze. And once she did that, it was like every furniture artist wanted to give their hand at painting a sunrise on their pieces. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to put the black all the way across because this is a clay-based paint, and I do have a spritzer bottle of water. So this is an atomizer, right? So it mists the water. I will be able, when it comes time to do some of the blending, I will be able to reactivate the paint. So it doesn't require me to just work in small sections at once, because the paint, if it's dried a little too much for blending by the time I get to the blue, I can just wet the paint and kind of start over again. But, I mean, I'm going to do 2 coats of paint, but I gotta tell you, this is awesome coverage. And that's one of the things that, okay, really, honey, just pick a spot here. You're killing me. But yeah, the coverage of this is great. Just checking to make sure you guys can see if I start heading to the other side. So I will say that the dog, one of the disadvantages of the medication that she's on, I mean, it's definitely helping clear out her lungs and she's able to breathe better, and thank goodness for all that. But it does mean she has to pee more. And it makes her thirsty, which also makes her pee more. But she's an old dog. Right? She's like 16 and a half, and she now has developed this, and she's mostly deaf, so she doesn't wake up as easy or doesn't startle as easy. So she does sleep a lot heavier, which means I have now duct taped a shower curtain around her bed. It's covered in towels at night, so every morning we're doing laundry because she doesn't make it through the night anymore. It doesn't matter how many times I take her to the bathroom as soon as she falls deep asleep. And I will say this, thank goodness I have a drop cloth here, which was just cleaned, just washed. I did wash it because of this issue. And just as I went to lean over to the side here, you guys need to appreciate how little I shared. Big white splotch. So she has fallen asleep on my drop cloth, and even though everybody's here right now, didn't ask to go out, just fell asleep, falls deeply asleep, and she hates getting bathed, having showers, and she's having to get those all the time. I think it means that she's due one as soon as I'm done painting. Yay! So it's a little more challenging, but kind of a good thing that we're here. We're here with her. So, tea break. You can see already how good that coverage is, how rich that blue is, right? Oh, love that the puppy's watching. Yeah, she's never far from me, so she's always, you can tell whatever room in the house I'm in because she's there with me. But sometimes with some of these things and with lighting and cameras, it's a little more challenging for her to navigate. Okay, so black on. I have done a black and white piece kind of with this before too, so you can see how awesome it would be to add more white, get these kind of blending, and then maybe doing like black branches and little black birds on it, right? The silhouette of something on it would be great. Or just a black and then like a skyline of building. Anyway. Just as you get halfway through, you know, you kind of, your mind starts drifting to other options and other looks. And just for those, I know I always get questions afterward. I do have the inside of this taped off back here, so I will go in and be able to do that. You can see where the priming is. I am going to be going all the way around the piece with colors, so anybody that's wondering, okay, you're doing this with the drawers all in, and everything goes and gets tidied up. So not to worry on that score. Now, the change in color between these two is going to be a little bit subtle because the Bohemian blue is quite a deep, rich color, but it does show. And for our first coat, we're just going to get an approximation of it. And I'm just going to get most of the blue on first, and then I'll come back in and start adding the two colors and doing some of the blending. And you'll notice for this that I'm holding my brush really low. I'm looking to apply the paint. I'm not looking to add brush strokes in a particular way, which would mean I'd hold it here. For something like this, you just need it nice and low so that you're able to control the paint. It's going to be a lot less wear and tear on your wrist as well. So anybody with wrist issues, this makes it a lot easier on your wrist. And you can see with this paint just how wonderfully it goes on, how quickly it applies the color. And the DIY paint is so heavily pigmented, so rich, that you can see already how great that coverage is, right? Just that depth of color and how little of the white shows through, which again just makes my job a little bit easier, because it's the playing with the paint that's the fun part, not always the, you know, like the primer, the white, not so much fun. Right? That's oh, I needed to, and if you guys had caught the previous makeover and all the issues I had with that little tiny um, little hall table. I mean, I loved how it turned out, right? So really, really happy with the ending of it, but I really thought that it was going to be a quick turnover. And then, oh my goodness, the bleed through issues and everything that started to happen with that one. You're just kind of going, okay, not loving this little piece, and I eventually had to take it out and just sand it down and start over again. So with this one, because I had just gone through all that, I wasn't taking any chances and decided, nope, we are putting primer on this baby and not running any risks. Okay, so I'm just going to get a little bit of the black back on. You saw that I spritzed a little bit with the water. I'm going to take my blue, just avoiding the wet spot over here. Sorry, okay. I've tripled over the drop cloth, so it's safe for me now. And I'm just very lightly touching this and feathering those colors together. So that if you're here, right, take some of the blue down, some of the black up. So they just kind of merge in together, right? And you end up seeing black here and the blue here, and then it's just kind of a little bit hazy in the middle. You don't necessarily have this straight line. You might want a straight line at some point, but if that's the case, then you're taping. You're taping off, painting the black, letting it dry, pulling out the tape, putting the tape down over top of the black and going that route, right? Because there's sometimes that maybe you want geometric patterns on your piece. And okay, let's get the blue on. So you can see how quickly a nice flat piece like this, where we just don't have a lot of details, and it's just kind of straight painting, how quickly this could go.
Candace is watching you now.
Hey Candace, I hope you're feeling good. I saw the picture of your ankle. I'd stick with the skateboarding story, honey. You're right. It is a little bit more, a little more telling. Just walking in the back garden and possibly, you know, I don't know. Hopefully it didn't break it, but twisting the ankle and being in your cast, yikes. Okay. So last panel and then decision time, guys. I'm going to need your help. So I did post and tell people that I'll take a pic of the options so that they can, little brush here.
Candace says it's way more exciting than the truth.
I think that you know, we're in times where creative measures, creative storytelling, right? There's all kinds of people telling stories on the internet now. This becomes yours. I want to hear yours. Yeah, coming up with a good story on this one. You'd be doing it to help relieve everybody else's boredom, honey. You know, it can be I don't know, maybe you had to hop a fence to maintain social distancing, something. But, oh, poor you. It's like not tough enough that you're kind of quarantined in there and trying to be as active as possible with little Sawyer, but okay. All right. So I started out by saying that we were going to have some decisions to make. So I will, after the live, I will carry on and do the same thing around the sides. The top is going to be all in that Bohemian blue. Okay? And then later today, when this dries, really 20 to 30 minutes, it'll be ready for another coat. I just want to give it maybe a couple of hours, because when I come back in, I am going to want to be doing some blending with the final coat again. And when I reactivate, if this isn't dry, I would reactivate all of it, which would mean that as I'm trying to do the blending and the brushing, I could end up pulling up those lower layers. So to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to give it a couple hours, work on the second coat, let it dry overnight so that tomorrow we can come back and it is dry and we can do some transfers. So I mean, I've done transfers numerous times. I haven't necessarily done transfers with you guys. So I thought it'd be a fun way to go. Now, instead of doing the typical floral transfers that most do, I've got two options here. So I'm going to show you the blue option, then I'm going to show you the wild Bohemian option. Okay? I might have one that I'm leaning toward more than the other, but I like both. So I want to hear from you guys. Take a look. Tell me what you think. I will post pictures as well, so those people that are not online can maybe comment and give me their vote. So this particular transfer, which is, I have no idea what it's called, is called an Algae print. This one is from Redesign, so one company. And there's there's 4 panels that come, but 2 patterns. So let me get the 2 out. So what I am thinking is if we go with this one panel, one design will be on these 2 drawers, sorry, the cabinets, and then the other design will be cut and placed in here, okay, in pieces. So one looks like this. Get out of the way, right? And one, my paint is still a little wet. One looks like this. Now, here's a little bit of the option. Originally, I thought, oh, if I was doing the door, it would be this. But here's the problem. It actually has letters. So it would need to go on the drawers or it would look really silly. Okay? This, I recognize, is smaller than the cabinet, right? Let me get my arm out of the way. So this is smaller than the cabinet. But what I would envision if we're using this one is that I would center it on the door, and once it's on, I can distress it. So I can kind of distress the edging so it's not square, right? Not that square wouldn't be a bad thing, but kind of distress it a little bit so it looks a little bit more aged. All right, so this is option 1. This is option 1, the Algae. All right. And these all have a backing, so the paint isn't going on the transfer at all. And we'll go over tomorrow exactly how these babies work. But let me get it back in its tube because they're a little bit persnickety. All right. So the Algae is one option, and this next option. This is a different company called IOD, so Iron Orchid Designs. And this transfer is called Bohemian Border. So it's a little funkier. Well, the other one's not necessarily sedate either, I don't think, but it's a little bit more neutral. It would end up being a little bit more neutral, all kind of uniform color tone. This one, I will need to cut this apart. So this comes as one big stencil, and let me show it to you. So now we're introducing some new colors to the piece. This does have blue, so you know some of the design that you're seeing in here is kind of the same Bohemian blue tone, and it's got black outlines. But now we're adding in some of those Bohemian colors in the reds and things. So what I would look at doing, what I would look at doing is kind of cutting across here, and those scallops would probably go along those two bottom cabinets. I can cut out this panel and this panel, this little panel, and just start doing edging in different places, in different ways, whatever made sense at the time. But I would cut this apart, not just apply it all in one. One, because it's too short. I couldn't put it straight across anyway. And I think this is too fat, too heavy a piece if I was to apply it all in one solid across the bottom, because there's not enough up. If this was maybe like an armoire, or if it was a hutch, so it had the top piece and you could go up a lot more with it, then maybe. But the full width of this, or the full height of this, I guess if I did it this way, would be a little bit too bottom heavy, I think. But I would cut it up and use it in kind of like different borders and different trims, designs of my own making on the piece. So we'd be doing little pieces coming down and up across the middle. I mean, whatever the heck ended up looking best. And I would apply some, we'll tape some on, see what we think. So your job is to let me know. Do we go with the Algae? Do we go with the Bohemian borders? I have a little bit of a preference, but I'd be happy with either. You guys, let me know what you think. I'll post some pics and get some other votes and weigh-ins on this one before we get back tomorrow. But I'm gonna finish slapping some paint onto this guy and get that first coat drying so that I can get a second coat on later. And I'll come back at you tomorrow, and we'll do some transfer stuff, which is super fun and very rewarding because you get a design very fast. It beats hand painting completely. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope that you are having some fun. Candace, I'm hoping that you feel better soon, honey. I hope it's not broken. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.